Hello, gentlefolk. This video is two parts. The first part is explaining why Trump getting into office is so bizarre. And then after I've gone through all of those reasons why Trump getting into office is so bizarre, I'm going to segue into what does it mean, given all of these odd things that should prevent Trump from getting into office. What does it mean now that he actually has gotten into office? So I'll start off with the first reason why it is bizarre that Trump is in office. The non-stop media campaign, basically the moment that he first tried to get into office in 2016, it has been relentless, completely relentless. I think at this point, Trump might be the most talked about human being on the planet. I remember being bewildered, like watching European television, and they're still complaining about Trump all the way in the European Union. How is that even possible? I mean, dude, I bet you could turn on like a Filipinian, is that the right word? Filipinian? In the Philippines news, and you'd still get something about President Trump within, I don't know, 20 minutes. Like, he's so widely discussed, and the vast majority of such discussion has not been positive at all. Now it's positive because they realize, damn, like, he's in power now. I don't know. They suck up to the government so hard. It's upsetting. As soon as they know, oh, Trump's going to be the one in power, they're like, oh God, you know what? Maybe Trump ain't so bad. I don't know. It just it puts a very vile taste in my mouth that they're just like, oh, new regime. Oh, I love the new regime. It's like what is it like? It's like one of those dystopian parodies or whatever, where it's like, oh, that's what it's like. It's like if you've ever read, you've never read this, but if you've ever read Tintin, the comics, the fucking revolutionary jungle guy, I don't remember what he's called, but basically they just, oh yeah, General Tapioca, they just install a new empire and everybody's like, oh, I fucking love General Tapioca. Hell yeah, I love General Tapioca. Like, it's just so fucking, because they're used to it. They're used to the regime change. That's what it's like here in the United States. They're like, oh, new regime? Oh my God. Yeah, you already know I love that shit. I don't know. It's like there was just a hand, like, partially strangling them to say something, and then as soon as that's not really fair. That would be giving them way too much benefit of the doubt. I think it's more like there was a hand. They had a constant drip of coins into their pocket, and now as soon as that has stopped, they're like, wait a minute, where's my stimulus? You know, maybe I should stop supporting that vile regime. I don't know. They're just like, well, time to get in bed with the new guy that's going to maybe give me a little bit of something. I don't know. It just sucks. I think that they might have drinking their own Kool-Aid in some ways, that they think that Trump actually would, like, fucking annihilate them for dunking on him. I don't know. Maybe they really do think he's a tyrant, and they're like, oh, I don't know. People are so shitty. They're like, oh my God, he's going to be a tyrant. And then they're like, well, gotta start sucking up to the new dictatorship, right? I mean, shit. Might as well get in with the in club. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, and then the obvious. A very coordinated assassination attempt against Trump. Exceptionally coordinated. I mean, dude, the cops were in on it. The Secret Service were in on it. That video recording of the guy telling that cop, like, yeah, there's a guy with a gun right there, and he's like pointing at him. You see that? You see that guy with a rifle right there, and the cop's like, what? Huh? What are you talking about? They're just like, he has a rifle right there. And the cop's just like, what? No, calm down, guys. What the... I mean, it was so obvious. The Secret Service snipers were fucking literally aiming at the guy as he took like 3 shots at Trump. I think it was like 4 or 5. They only shot him after he had taken like 5 shots. I don't know about you, but if somebody shot me 5 times, that'd be more than enough to kill me. So, yeah, I think it was pretty much... It should have been a done deal, okay? They gave the shooter the perfect opening, blah, blah, blah. Their excuse for having him on that roof, for letting him there in the first place, was that the roof was too slanted. If you look right behind Trump as he's making the speech and as he gets shot, the fucking counter snipers are on like a 45-degree roof. Like a very, very steep roof. I remember looking at that and I was like, damn, like they really have them up there? And then they were like, oh yeah, we didn't put them on that, what, like 10 degrees slope roof, like not even. Yeah, we didn't put them up on there because somebody could have gotten hurt. Like, what? Yeah, somebody really could have gotten hurt. The one guy that shouldn't have gotten hurt is who could have gotten hurt. Unbelievable. And then there's this image of the cops, like, area of authority, or area of responsibility, I should say, overlaid on top of the Secret Service's area of responsibility. The only gap within like 400 meters. I don't know, because it was a pretty zoomed in map. I wish it was more zoomed out so it would have just been even more hilarious. But for like 400 meters around Trump, the only place that had a gap in security, the fucking place that the shooter got up onto. And I mean, you could say like, well, obviously the shooter's going to exploit the only place that there's a gap. But why the fuck was there a gap? I mean, if we're being real, I mean, the shooter was retarded. He could have just gotten, like, actually into the building, and it would have just been a fucking turkey shoot. He could have missed 100 rounds. What were the snipers going to do, just wallbang him? They would have had to shoot a lot of times to wallbang him. I guess they could have suppressed him, but it's like, I don't know. I wonder if he would have been easily suppressed. Probably. That being said, though, I think it's pretty obvious why he failed, but I'll get to that later on. And then the Kamala Harris swap. After Trump, the assassination on Trump failed, it was, I mean, I would say it's weird, but sadly, I think it's actually pretty expected. All of a sudden, all these politicians started acting a little bit weird. They were like, oh, damn, that changes things. Man, I was really expecting that guy to get fucking his head blown off, but now that he hasn't gotten his head blown off, that really changes things a lot. So then they rushed to put Kamala Harris. They were like, Joe Biden? Yeah, we hate him. We think he's an idiot. This new Kamala Harris guy, his fucking vice president. Yeah, let's put her in. She's goated. I'm telling you, dude. Unbelievable. And I'm not even going to mention, well, obviously I'm going to mention it, but I'm not even going to go into detail on, I mean, Joe Biden was Barack Obama's vice president. And Barack Obama still lives in D.C. So, it's just like, it just makes it all the more weird, that clip of Trump making Barack Obama laugh in that fucking, like, funeral. I watched that and I had the thought, like, Barack Obama must feel like such a player because he's just laughing away at Trump's joke when he's just like the fucking puppet master half the time. But I don't fucking know what the hell to think about that, if I'm being honest, because I think it's pretty clear, because Joe Biden is Barack Obama's vice president, and just because of the Barack Obama legacy, basically, like, yeah, it's, at least to me, it's pretty obvious that Barack Obama is pulling some serious strings. I mean, dude, he never left D.C. He still lives in D.C. Why would you live in D.C. if you're a retired politician? Explain that to me. The answer is you fucking wouldn't, okay? You wouldn't. Anyway, after Trump failed to get assassinated, they put in Kamala Harris. Then all these politicians started doing different stuff. So they were clearly gearing up to, like, okay, we can't kill him, so we're going to beat him politically. But then it just makes no fucking sense because of this next thing. There was, compared to 2020, there was a completely statistically insignificant amount of voter fraud in this election, in the 2024 election. There's this, I guess you'd call it a spreadsheet, I guess. Not really, but it's basically just a list of numbers. There's a consistent rise or within a couple, I think like a couple 100,000 fluctuation in voter count per year in the United States. If you look at all those numbers and then just look at 2020, sorry, I was going to say 2024, but no, 2020. If you look at 2020, there's 4 more million voters and they all voted Democrat. Like, that's so weird. But now in 2024, if you look at the same list, we're right back to the initial number. Like the 4 million fake votes were erased this year. Like they didn't try the same shit at all. Which is just like, what the fuck? Like, did they just give up? Were they just like, you know what? That was pretty badass that Trump got shot in the ear. I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt. I mean, I don't believe it for a second. And it's just scary because it's like, what the fuck are they planning? What the fuck are they planning? And then there was that event where I think Border Patrol, I think it was something like they had intelligence on 4 Stinger missiles or surface-to-air missiles that got smuggled into the United States, like man-pads, man-portable air defense systems. They had some intel on that. Then the Trump team started swapping out, or not swapping out, but like, what would you call that? Fucking like running defense, I guess, yeah. Started running defense by not having Trump fly in his like Trump labeled plane. They had him fly in an unlabeled jet. And there was some pretty significant fear of man-pads, right? Then the Trump team recently in the inauguration, they moved the inauguration inside. Why would you move the inauguration inside? They even said it was due to security risks. Did they say that? That might be an assumption that I heard from somebody. But, I mean, the implication is clear regardless of what they said. Why would you move it inside? Unless you wanted to protect Trump. There was, I think, a winter storm, but it's like, just put on a coat, dude. Like, no way. No fucking way that they were just like, I don't know, it's a little bit cold out there. Let's move it all indoors. Unheard of. Completely unheard of. The initial Trump inauguration was fucking legendary. The entire DC area was filled to the brim. But then Trump starts saying shit. I mean, dude, he's so emboldened. Then he starts saying, oh, Canada? Yeah, oh, Canada. Unintentional. He said, yeah, Canada? I'm tired of running defense for them. I'm tired of defending them with our defense budget. We should just make them the 51st state. You know, why not? And then he was saying we should buy Greenland. We should get the Panama Canal back. He's just painting the biggest target on him fucking in the entire world. I mean, what are you supposed to think if you're the Canadian government watching that? You're like, this motherfucker is going to dethrone me of my position. Pretty strong motivator to kill Trump, I would say. Then, I mean, like, he's just pissing off world governments left and right, and he's not even in office yet. I don't know. I mean, he refuses to speak too much on, like, deals that he has planned out in his mind. But, dude, he's spilling too many of the beans. Far too many of the beans. Like, you don't tell people that you're planning to make them the 51st state. What are you doing? Fucking insane. And then the classic, like, making NATO pay up. It's public knowledge, you know, classic that Trump said that he would end the war in Ukraine. He would keep China in check, right? End the Palestine-Israel conflict. I don't even think Palestine is the correct word. I think that's like some like libtard shit or something. I'm pretty sure it's just like Hamas and Hezbollah, right? Like, why are you calling it Palestine? Like, what is that? Some sort of like fictional previous government? Why are we still caring about them? Or stupid. It's just absolutely stupid. But yeah, it's just, I don't know. I'm not going to touch on that because that's not what this fucking video is about. But so that all being said, I think it's pretty obvious with the assassination attempt that God intervened, initially I was like, God intervening? What are you talking about? Now I think it's pretty obvious, and I'm saying that because Trump is still alive. If it wasn't God intervening, then Trump would have just gotten shot at another time, right? But no, I think it's pretty obvious that God did intervene because, I mean, that was the one that mattered, and, you know, that was the one that made all the difference. So it makes sense that God would intervene in such a pivotal moment, right? But if it would have all just meant the same, then God intervening would be pretty dubious, if not just outright bullshit. The shooter obviously didn't know how to zero his scope, which is embarrassing. How do you have an assassin that doesn't know how to zero a scope? They just picked some fucking kid that would be willing to do some crazy shit, I'm pretty sure. I could talk about it furthermore, but I just want to say, like, they also literally saw him walking around with a rangefinder. The place was littered with Secret Service snipers, and you're telling me they can't see what a rangefinder is? Like, what the fuck is that, dude? I don't know. And then also, how do you carry a gun all the way up, like, through the security perimeter into this, like, area? How does that happen? It makes no sense. They were clearly compromised. But I already said that, so I don't know what I'm talking about. The point of this is, why? Why did God intervene? Why would he have done that? So, now we segue into part 2 of the video. What could this mean? What could it mean that God intervened in the Trump assassination? Well, I have a little list here. I'm sure there's... If you have anything else, please put it in the comments. It's fascinating. I mean, clearly it's fascinating. I'm making this video just basically for myself. Like, I would be surprised if 15 people watch this. Maybe later on down the line when... You know how it goes, you know? You make like 100 videos, and then it's the 101st one that everybody loves. And then all of your previous videos get watched because people are like, damn, this is some good shit. How do I get more of this? So, but like right now, nobody's going to watch this video. Certainly nobody's going to watch this video in time for it to influence their opinions on these current events that I'm talking about, right? But, so what I'm saying is, if for some reason you stumbled upon this video, please, if you have anything that this could mean to you, that you think, please put it in the comments section. I would love to talk about it, or at least read about it. But number one, I'm not going to number this, by the way. I just, you know. You gotta say number one. You just have to. First, Trump will radically change the government with his, like, newfound alliance leading to a U.S. golden age, right? With all the libertarians that he's collected like Funko Pops, he would, you know, mush all those people together, and it would lead to a United States golden age. That's the first plausible thing that you could be like, okay, God intervened because he wants to see a U.S. golden age, right? You know, that would be pretty awesome for a ton of reasons. If we got into a proper golden age, like, no way we wouldn't be on the moon or Mars. And that would be awesome. It would just be, like, I'm really into reading sci-fi, and it's just because, like, even fiction, like, it's just so much more interesting, like, that layer of, like, no, not just one planet, but, like, motherfucking big, you know, you got a whole solar system, damn. So yeah, that would be pretty cool, I would imagine. If I was God, I would be like, holy shit, can we please put a fucking base on the moon or something? And I feel like I need to mention it, but it does make me question whether we even could. Or maybe even previous events. I talked to some fucking... It was weird, a Marine Corps recruiter who basically told me that he fucking thought the moon landing was totally fake because we haven't gone back there since. And while you might be rushing to the defense of the United States, I think that is pretty damning. Like, why haven't we put something on the moon? It would be pretty cool, and I don't think it would cost that much money. It would just be, like, really awesome. And also, like, if you put, like, a railgun or something on the moon, like, how the fuck would you be able to beat that from the Earth? Like, the first country that puts a mass driver system on the moon, Like, they just kind of win. Imagine being able to imperviously shell any city with an infinite ammo supply of meteors that you just carved out of the moon. Like, how the fuck would you possibly lose? It would be so hard to lose. So anyway. What the hell was I talking about again? Okay. Number two. Number two is that letting Trump survive will let him prevent some sort of moment of weakness for the United States, and him being in office will let us easily crush some sort of threat that would have otherwise compromised the entire global sphere, which is very clearly under the... I would say that the world is under the rule of the United States. I don't think that's pretty even contentious, right? So maybe if Trump wasn't able to get into office, then something like really bad would have happened, and that would have compromised basically the entire world through the US's global security, whatever, being compromised or shattered or overly taxed, right? So he basically just got put in to prevent something that was never meant to happen, right? But would have happened. And then the next one, Trump will cause an opening. He won't be the one that actually does it, like the first one, the first possible reason. No, this one is Trump will cause an opening for real political change in the US system, which will usher in a golden age, right? That I think is one of the more plausible ones on this list, because I don't really see Trump actually changing the government himself. I see more so just him creating some sort of institutional or strategic opening for a change, right? I think that's more plausible. But, and the next one, Trump will just put the right people into power himself. He won't really be the one that does it, but he will reform the government just enough and have the right people in power, basically like how the Democrats have done it. Like, they've just infested the entire bureaucracy with their guys. So they basically started just like everything, it just bled through everything. The whole US government just started doing things how they wanted, right? So if that is possible, then it could certainly be possible with a more right-leaning group, right? So in this hypothetical, Trump will put in all these people into power. He clearly has the people to do it, because he has like an unbelievable amount of public support and just basically admiration from pretty much anybody in power. So I think pretty plausible that the people that he puts into power will themselves basically lead to systemic change. Their actions will. And either that or the people that he puts into power will cause one of the other things on this list. Like what I said about preventing a moment of weakness, that, preventing something that should have never happened. Maybe the people he puts into power will result into that, right? That's a hypothetical. But then the next one, Trump being installed has prevented a certain set of irreversible actions that would have been taken by the next Democrat administration. And these actions could have basically never been reversed. I think it's likely that this would have manifested as a cascade that would have resulted in some sort of fascist globalist system. And I think it's pretty obvious that that's the case, because that's the trajectory that we've been on for a while now. The entire EU is pretty globalist and pretty fascist, and the United States was falling in suit under Joe Biden and the left. So there was basically, before Trump just got put into power, there was not a single government on this earth, I don't really think, besides like maybe Poland or something like that. Certainly nothing with enough power to really make it happen that is like anti-fascist. Like, I think a large portion of the world right now, if not basically every country, are fascist police states. Socialist, fascist police states. So I think it's this is a very plausible one as well. Unfortunately, that very likely if Trump never got installed, we would be seeing an irreversible cascade here. And then the last reason, the last hypothetical reason that Trump could have been spared by the big G himself, and that is that God was just pretty tired of horrific shit happening, and he was just, because I think it's pretty obvious that God favors the United States at least a little bit. We've consistently been, I don't know, just pretty based, honestly. Pretty based. Like the Civil War, we literally just, the North just massacred all the fucking Southerners, basically, just because we hated the shit out of slavery so much. And we were so pissed off that we just wanted to kill them all. And we did. So that's awesome. I just think, I don't think this is very likely, but I could see it if I was God. Just being like, holy shit, like, how is nobody doing anything to stop Ukraine or any of this stuff? How is nobody, like, changing any of these horrific governments? Like, it's just, it's awful. It's fucking awful. I could so see God basically just being like, alright, this seriously needs to fucking stop. Like, I'm just tired of these horrific bureaucratic governments that are basically just monsters. So I think those are the most compelling possible reasons why Trump could have been spared. That was probably pretty boring listening to me list all those out, but I don't know how else to do this. I could have just put it up on the screen, that list, but I'm not too familiar with my new editing software, DaVinci Resolve, and if we're being real, I cannot be fucked to, I mean, I'm pumping this out like right before I have to go and leave and do something, so like I am not going to be learning how to do that at this current time. Anyway, yeah, I'll see you around. So I don't know if you have anything that you thought, any critical sentient thought that you had watching this video, please put it down in the comment section. I'd love to read it. It just feels like everybody's just ignoring this. Like, either, because it's just bizarre to me, because I feel like in many ways Trump getting shot is just like the logical thing that should have happened. It was just very much so, I think, the trajectory that we were on, right? Like, the left has clearly shown their hand many times as being just like literal fascists. You know, they constantly use propaganda, they constantly lie and misshape the truth. And I think that, I mean, like, that's a pretty clear precursor to actual political violence, right? So that's how it should have happened. I don't think in any way Trump should have been living through that. But that's what happened. And it's bizarre. Completely bizarre, as the title of this video says. So, yeah, I mean, that's basically it. I mean, on one hand, you love to see it, that Trump is in office. I mean, it's a beautiful sight. On the other hand, I have absolutely no idea what I'm supposed to think about that. And I guess that's really just what this video is trying to come to terms with, which is, why is it that Trump is still alive? Because it definitely means something. All of these things, these reasons here of why it's so bizarre that Trump got put into office, the fact that he still got into office somehow, it means something. And that's what I was trying to get at, is you could look at this, and I'm sure if you analyzed it for long enough and you really looked at the world, what was going to happen, blah, 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 I'm sure hindsight will be 20/20, obviously, and will be like, oh, Trump was obviously spared so that he would prevent this, or whatever, or that he would do this, something like that. But from where I'm sitting right now, I'm just trying to think, what is that going to be? It could be any one of these things, easily. easily. And I certainly don't think it's going to be growing the U.S. empire. Like, that's... Trump is having a serious mix of priorities, but I think it's just because he's suffering from the same thing that I'm suffering from, which is a lack of intel on what's coming. He probably literally just thinks like, okay, I'm in the clear, I'm in power, right? You know, time to get to work on building the U.S. economy. He just probably, he very well might just not understand that. I mean, no, like, God did not spare you to increase the U.S. GDP. You know what I mean? So, like I said, I'm sure it'll be very clear eventually, but it's scary. It's scary being in the dark. It's scary not having information. And this is certainly horrifying. Because, I mean, it could be anything. It could be any one of these things. Anyway, that's all I gotta say. Hope you comment. Goodbye.